it's Zadie and you're watching Flytte Kartina, and wow! I got 2 movie reviews out in 1 week. It's even more incredible that I had actual money to pay for 2 movie tickets. Today we're gonna talk about Venom, which was released just last weekend, starring Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams. Movie trilogy, and Michelle Williams played in the recent movie Greatest Showman as the wife of Hugh Jackman. Let me tell you a little bit about Venom, just based on what the trailers have told us. Venom is a symbiote from space that comes down to Earth somehow because of this business that just claims to be researching something like, you know, I don't know, about health benefits or something like that. Anyway, it's a super sketchy research company, but Venom gets to Earth, and that's pretty much it. Venom comes to Earth and bonds with this dude named Eddie Brock, and this guy is like, what the heck is going on? And screaming, a lot of screaming. Okay, we're gonna go over the rating of this film and why it was rated that way. I will put in my own rating systems, and then at the very end, I'm gonna talk about what I liked and disliked about the movie. So the MPAA rated Venom PG-13. They made it to be a PG-13 movie, but it could have been an R movie if they really tried hard enough. The MPAA rated it PG-13 for intense sequences of sci-fi action and violence, and for language. It sounds like the basic formula for literally any superhero movie I've seen in the past few years. But we're gonna break it down anyway! The first part says intense sequences of sci-fi action and violence. This is basically what it describes. So intense sequences, it means it's intense, the tension builds, and you're just kind of like staring there like, okay, they're gonna die, all of them are gonna die, and they don't, and or whatever, or they get into a fight and stuff like that. The violence part, when you break it down, it's not actually that violent. Obviously, from the trailers, you can see that there are multiple fight scenes involved, and there is violence where this dude bites a guy's head off. Yeah, like 3 guys get their heads bitten off, but you don't actually see it. What happens is that most of the scenes that are violent and action-based are filmed at night, and Venom is a tar-like symbiote, which is completely black. So what are you gonna see? Nothing. Don't get me wrong, there is like intensity in there and you're anticipating stuff that's gonna happen and you're like, oh, that must have hurt, but they're like kind of generic action scenes that don't really do anything special. In the violence part, I will mention that there is a part where this woman is like walking and she's got a broken leg and the bone is sticking out of her kneecap, and so it's just kind of like, that's disgusting and not natural. This is a PG-13 rated film, and so the language is going to be pretty prominent, unlike PG movies, but it's not going to be like so in your face like R movies. The language part is there. It's not like, it's kind of an average language thing. They do use that one F-bomb that they're allowed to use in the PG-13 rating, but the regular stuff is kind of just like exclamations of, oh my goodness, why, and stuff like that. Something that they didn't include in the rating, which was kind of like disturbing to me, so I feel like I should include it and let you guys know. So as you can see from the trailers, there are experiments that are done on like people and trying to bond people with this symbiote, as would any corrupted corporation would do. And so you see these people being unsuccessfully bonded with these things, and you see some pretty disturbing images. They're kind of just writhing in pain, and you know the thing is like inside of it, and so it just kind of like, they kind of like almost, they break them. It's pretty disturbing, and you kind of just gotta like close your eyes and move past it. It's just kind of like really like, that's not natural. Just letting you guys know. So I'm gonna pull up the frequency chart and rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10 on how frequent these elements were. And this is pretty easy movie to rate. I'm probably gonna give it like a 6 or a 7. Let's make that a 7. It's over average. It's not like super average, but at the same time, it's not like intensely, whoa, it's an 8 or a 9. Lastly, I'm gonna pull up my magical scale of movies on a scale of Steamboat Willie to Deadpool. How appropriate is this for younger audiences? Again, this is gonna be higher on the scale, kind of average-ish, but not like average that you're like, oh yeah, I'm safe watching this as a time of leisure and then I can go frolic in a field of daisies after this. It's gonna be rated an Iron Man, which is 7 on the scale, and that's like, you know, if you get the idea and the feel of what the elements in Iron Man are, you'll get the feeling of what Venom is kind of like. Now that we've got that all figured out, let's talk about what I liked and did not like about the movie. This is non-spoiler, so you don't have to worry about me spoiling the entire movie for you. Although the trailers already do that for you anyway sometimes. So the stuff that I did like about this movie, I really liked the interactions between Eddie Brock and Venom symbiote, and they're kind of like hashing out it together, and I think Tom Hardy does a good job of kind of like visualizing that internal struggle that you have with yourself. You're just like, I I'm listening to two people talk at the same time, but one person can't hear the other person. And it's kind of unnerving, and he's just kind of like, wait, you need to stop talking so I can listen to this one. There's one scene where it's not a complete spoiler, but you kind of just like accept Eddie Brock as a character, because prior to that scene, he doesn't really do much to make him redeemable in your eyes. But it's basically when he finds out that the Venom symbiote is inside of him, and Venom starts talking to him, and then he screams like really realistically, and I was like, oh yes, this is a character I can get behind. I didn't hate the movie overall. It was better than I expected it to be. Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 28 or something, I don't remember what it was, but it was a pretty low rating, and I was like, oh yay, it's a flop, and I'm gonna go see it. So like my expectations were like right here, and Rotten Tomatoes just like lowered it like 5 whole levels. And then when I watched Venom, I was like, okay, it's better than I thought it was going to be. What I think they did well with this film in like post-production was putting the audience in Eddie Brock's shoes when he's listening to Venom, because when you're hearing Venom, like you can hear him like all around you, and just the way that they used effects on his voice, you're just kind of like, it's in my head, I can hear him. And so it really puts you in Eddie Brock's shoes. You're just like, wow, okay, this is really overwhelming, and I can't, like, you know, it's really unnerving. The antagonist of this film is played by Riz Ahmed, who you would know from Star Wars and Nightcrawler. In Nightcrawler, he played Rick, and in Rogue One, he played Bodhi. I think he's a talented actor. I really do. The character was just written wrong. I didn't understand his position. I mean, obviously, I understand, like, on a surface level, but like everything else was just like, you're just a bad guy. You're a placeholder basically for Riot. That is actually what they did. They tried to make a love story between him and Michelle Williams' character, but that also didn't work. I feel like this movie tried to play with like 5 different textures, and it just didn't work altogether. I didn't feel for any of the characters except for Tom Hardy's character, Eddie Brock. The action scenes, as I said were basic action scenes. They were okay. I was like, in the heat of the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and it's like, they were done pretty realistically and stuff, but at the same time, I was like, after looking and analyzing at the movie, I was like, oh, okay. Overall, I did like this movie better than I expected it to be. It surprised me in some ways, and in other ways, I was like, meh, it was okay. But question of today, not the week, like I said last time. Would you want to be bonded with a symbiote? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great random Thursday. I will see you on the other side of the screen. Bye!